Okay, welcome to our latest Swampcast. We're here on Wednesday. Gator baseball's about to play out there against Stetson. Gator football having a practice out here. Usually, Robbie, the Wednesday practice before the orange and blue game is a big practice, but these guys are so banged up, they're out there in shorts.
Yeah, I mean, shorts on the Wednesday before the game. You know, Meyer wants to get the most out of the spring. To have a Wednesday where they're not going to really do much of anything, no hitting at all, is kind of just shows you where they are health-wise. They're so banged up that I don't know if they're going to have enough offensive linemen to play the spring game. And Meyer talked about it the other day. He goes, I don't know what we're going to do for the game. I'm sure they'll play the game, but there are going to be a lot of guys that are going to have to play the whole game, play both ways.
Yeah, they may play just run skells or something,
yeah.
Run 7-on-7 because they are banged up. And seems like a lot of minor surgeries going on offensively and defensively.
Yeah, but that's the spring, Pat. This is when you kind of clean everything up, and you don't really, a lot of these guys that are hurt don't need the practice anyhow, but you're just short on a lot of bodies. You get a chance now to see a lot of young guys playing. If I was a fan, that's what I'd look forward to the spring game, seeing a lot of the young guys like Bostic, you know, the true freshmen that are early enrollees, just see how they do in this game.
Yeah, if you're going out there to watch Tebow, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to see him.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of Brantley though, based on what we saw last Saturday. He got to run with the first team a bunch, and he really lit it up out there, Pat. It was the shame of it was that his dad wasn't there for the first time this spring for a scrimmage, and he missed it.
Yeah, he's got other duties, I guess. But yeah, you know, it's just every time I read one of your practice reports or come out here, there's guys in boots and guys that are banged up. And one thing you need to get them ready for is not just next year, but for summer weightlifting.
Yeah.
You know, and the summer conditioning drills that are so essential to any football team.
Yeah, and like Marquise Pouncey is probably going to miss a lot of that. And you have to wonder, you know, an offensive lineman that doesn't get his strength training in the summer, is he going to be ready in the fall? So that is a concern. You want him ready to go 100% during the summer. That's what the most important thing right now. That's, you know, kind of determines how you're going to look when you get here in the fall to start practice in August.
Spring practice is almost over, Robbie. You've been to every one of them. What stands out to you when you look at this spring practice?
One thing that really has impressed me is the job that Scott Loeffler's done with the quarterbacks. I mean, you talk to Brantley, he said he's done stuff for us that we didn't even know about before. You know, just their footwork and their throwing with their bodies. And, you know, Tebow's getting more of the overhand motion now, and he's really zipping the ball in. I think there's been a giant improvement with the quarterbacks, and that was one of my spring preview things, was that developing the quarterbacks is a big thing. I think that's one thing they've really done a great job with. And some of Loeffler's offense is in this offense now too, in terms of the downfield passing game. So, you know, it's a little bit different look offensively, basically the same, but some different things to it. It'll be interesting to see that and how the receivers operate out of it.
Well, it's going to be interesting to me too to see what the offensive line they put out there when the season starts. And don't forget, you know, they'll have those summer practices with what they consider their 5 best. This is kind of to find out who their 5 best are.
Yeah.
And Robbie, you've touched on it, and I touched on it in a story I did for a magazine story. It could be Sam Roby at center.
Yeah, and the more you look at practice, I think he's going to be the guy, Pat. He is really, I watched him at scrimmage the other day, he is an athletic center. He's fast, he's quick, he's really strong. He's over 300 pounds now. I think it makes perfect sense to have the 2 Pouncey twins at guard, and then Carl Jones. Yeah, and then you've got a real strong middle, and you know that's what they're looking for here. And then you're looking at a center that could be here 4 years, a 4-year start at center, which they haven't had that stability at that position since Meyer's been here. So I think they like that a lot too.
Yeah, who were they? DeGorey? Who was after DeGorey?
Drew Miller? Was it Drew
Miller? Yeah, Drew Miller. And then, what's his name? Who was the center last
I can't think of No, Rissler was the center the second time.
Rissler, and then Drew Miller, and then last year was Pouncey.
Yeah, Pouncey,
okay. So
but
4 different centers.
Yeah, but they're quick to point out Pouncey was an All-American freshman guard, which is his natural position, even though I think the Pounceys could play anywhere on the line. But I think those two in the middle with Roby, and then you got 2 big tackles that are athletic too. I think it's a good, you know, a chance to be a really good offensive line.
If you had to pick one player in the skill position that really emerged this spring, who would it be?
I think Deontay Thompson's really started coming on, Pat. And he's a guy that is fast and quick. He never played real fast last year. He looked a little tentative. I think he is comfortable enough now in the offense to play fast, and they need that. He's the guy that stretches the field for them.
Yeah, he's, you know, I think everybody's kind of waited for him. You know, don't forget that his first year there was all the rumors he was going to transfer to Miami. Last year he was a factor, not a big factor, but he certainly played and made some nice catches. I think he had 18 or somewhere around there. But yeah, I think people thought that when he came to Florida, he was going to be in the, not a Percy Harvin, but a Riddell Anthony.
Yeah, an explosive, fast guy that gets deep, and I think he's ready to become that player now.
How about defensively? Who's really kind of emerged this fall,
to me,
spring?
The defensive player of the spring, to me, and maybe the best player on the field has been Joe Hayden. His coverage has been unbelievable. He's been the best defensive back out there, day in and day out, and playing with a lot of confidence. He's a guy that, I can't see him lasting beyond this season.
No.
He's going to the NFL.
I made this point to somebody. This is a big year for Florida football. Obviously, you're defending a national champion. You're going to be number one in the preseason. But and even though Urban stacked these classes on top of each other, when you think about all the seniors they're going to lose and all the juniors they could lose, because Bostic, you could lose you could lose Pouncey, a Pouncey.
Yeah.
You could lose Aaron Hernandez, certainly.
Oh, I think he's a goner too.
I mean, there are a couple other guys that are iffy, but I think they'll probably be back. But when you think about all that, you're going to be replacing a lot next year. So next year is probably going to be a rebuilding year. So I think that puts a little bit of pressure on this.
But Pat, that's why they have 10 commitments now, I think.
Yeah.
High school coaches, players, the prospects, they see that Florida's loaded this year. Next year they could be coming off a national championship with a lot of openings for playing time. And I think that's why they've got 10 commitments and maybe some more on the way this weekend. And I think this class is going to fill up in a real hurry.
Yeah, I wonder how many they'll have, 23?
Probably between 22, 25, and depending, like Hernandez, Hayden come out early, it goes up a little bit. But it's going to be it's a great year in Florida for talent.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And Florida's putting together, another top class.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the spring game goes. And, of course, therell be 40,000 or so over there at the Swamp watching the spring game, and probably aren't going to be overly entertained.
No.
But, hey, a lot of it, I think, Robbie, is come out and celebrate the championship one more time.
I think that's part of it. And like I said, watch John Brantley play. I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense a little bit. And then, some of these young guys that have worked hard and gotten a lot of opportunities to play are going to have the same on Saturday. Watch those guys too. And then some of these walk-ons like Christopher Scott and the Burgess kid at fullback, they've had great springs, and there's a chance they could see a little playing time in the fall.
Well, certainly, I could sit and watch John Brantley throw for hours.
Yeah, I could.
He is really fun to watch throw the football, and I think that'll be what everybody's going to see tomorrow or Sunday, Saturday, whatever day it is. And also, of course, some of the young guys running around that maybe you haven't seen a whole lot of. So it'll be interesting spring game, and Robbie and I'll be there, chronicle for you. We'll give you a Swampcast after the spring game. I know you can't wait for that. And also, of course, all the coverage on Gatorsports.com.
Yeah. Watch for Carl Moore in the game too, Pat.
He's
started
played well.
to step it up.
Yeah, I like the way he's played this spring. Doesn't look like. Remember last fall, in the preseason, I told you, I go, Carl Moore, what's the story there? He's a bust. And I asked Urban about it. And he said he's not. He's got this talent. He just can't let it go.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really see it last year during the season. We saw a little bit of it. I'm seeing it in the spring.
Yeah, and in the scrimmage last Saturday, you saw a big, fast receiver going up and getting the ball, using his body to get between the ball and the DB and make plays. And I think that's what they've been waiting for. And you talk to Carl Moore, he's like Deontay Thompson now. He's playing fast because he knows what he's doing and where he's going.
Well, his girlfriend's doing good in gymnastics now, too.
Oh, that's good.
It's a great combination. Those guys did pretty good last night over in Tallahassee.
The blue unis are cool.
Show the blue uniforms there, Trish. They look pretty good.
They're sharp.
That's your Florida baseball team, 10-2 winners over FSU last night. As you see this, if you've seen it Thursday, it was Tuesday
Pat Dooley was there.
I was there covering it. I had not been there a long time. That's a good yard.
Yeah,
really
it is.
Nice
it's
yard.
A great yard.
I was trying to think, when's the last time I saw a Florida team lose over there? Because I haven't been to either one of the last two basketball games. Might have been the 2003 or 2002 Ron Zook.
Don't say that too loud, or Sullivan will have you going there every year.
That's
for
right.
Every game. So
that's right.
He could hear you. He's downwind.
He is downwind. Well, we're going to get out of here on a windy day. We'll join you again Saturday after the spring game, the Orange and Blue debut, whatever it is.
I think it's the debut now.
Debut.
So.
Okay. We'll be there for that. Hope to see you there as well. Until next time, Robbie, Andreu, Pat Dooley, the Gainesville Sun, saying so long from the Sunshine State.